This tutorial will take you through the steps that you'll need to follow in order to gather the data that you'll be using in the NATA assignment, which is due at the end of September. You want to start with your family's current home address and then use the U.S. Census Bureau website to look up the name of the county in which that address resides as well as the census tract number. Now, you probably already know the name of the county where your family currently lives, but you probably don't know the census tract number. For purposes of this assignment, you can think of a census tract as being a relatively small area of geography that's roughly comparable to a neighborhood. Most census tracts have just a few thousand people living within their boundaries. You want to start by going to the U.S. Census Geocoder website, and you can get there either by clicking on the hyperlink that's embedded in the assignment document itself, or if that doesn't work for some reason, you can copy and paste the full URL address that I've provided on Canvas into your browser. Once you do that, you'll be taken to this page, and what you want to do is find geographies using the address option. That'll bring up this page, and then you can input your address information. Now, by way of example, I'm going to use the address where I lived when I first came to UNH back in 1996. I don't live here any longer, but this is one way that we can walk through these steps together. And then click on Find. And that'll bring up a bunch of geographic information that's associated with this particular address, 5 Meter Lane in Durham, New Hampshire. If we scroll down to the counties area of this page, you'll see a GeoID 33017, and that's an identifier that the Census Bureau uses to indicate that this county in question is Strafford County. So in other words, what we know so far is that 5 Meter Lane in Durham resides within Strafford County, which has an ID number of 33017. And then if we scroll a little further down to the census tracts area, we see another GeoID, 33017 080100. So the first part of this GeoID, 33017, indicates that the census tract we're looking at resides within Strafford County because of this ID number, which is the same as for Strafford County, and then the remainder of the ID number, 080100, is the census tract number. And you can also see that if you look down here at the tract information. Now, in some of the websites that we're going to be using for this assignment, sometimes the leading and the trailing zeros are omitted. So we're going to consider census tract 080100 and census tract 801 to be the same thing. So don't worry if you see that slight inconsistency with the leading and trailing zeros left off in some of these websites. It's still referring to the same census tract. So we know some of the information that we need for the assignment, so let's go ahead and enter that into Table 1. We know that our home address resides within Census Tract 801, and we know that both the address and the tract are in Strafford County, New Hampshire. The next thing we want to do is to try to determine the estimated cancer risk for our census tract and for the entire county. And to get that information, we're going to go to the Environmental Protection Agency's NATA database, or the National Air Toxics Assessment. And again, you can either click on the link or copy and paste the URL address. And when you do that, it'll bring you to this website. Once you're here, you want to scroll down to the assessment results, and then you want nationwide results, and then the file you want to open is this one, 2014 NATA National Cancer Risk by Source Group. This is an Excel spreadsheet. It's a massive file with over 76,000 rows of data. The database looks like this, and the information that we're especially interested in is right here in column G, the total cancer risk per million people. And this is the cancer risk that's associated with the 180 or so airborne pollutants that are tracked in this database. So one way to interpret this line of information right here is that for the entire United States, the cancer risk per million people associated with those 180 or so pollutants is 31.689 cases per million people, or rounding up to the nearest decimal point, 31.7 cases per million people. Now, we want this information for our county and for our census tract, and the census tract numbers are in column E, and the county numbers and names are in column C and D. So because this database is so huge, a quick way that you can get the information you're looking for is by highlighting column D, which is the FIPS code, or the GeoID, it's the same thing, and then do a search for the GeoID that you found at the previous website from the geocoder website. In this case, it's 33017, so we put that information in, we search for that within column D, and that'll bring us down to the county that we're looking for, Stratford County. Now this first line, where it changes from Rockingham County to Stratford, this first line will give us the rate for the entire county. And we know that because when we look at the census tract column, column E, we see 33017, and then all of the rest of the digits are zeros. So there's no census tract that's being indicated here. The data in column G for this line of information is for the entire county. And you can also see the population here is much bigger than for a census tract, 123,000 people. So for Stratford County, the risk of cancer is per million is 22.5634, or 22.6 rounding up cases per million. So we can enter that into our table, 22.6, and you want to be sure that you indicate the units that you're talking about, cases per million people in that database. So we know the cancer risk for Stratford County. Now we want to know the cancer risk for census tract 801, and it just so happens that the census tract we're looking for is the very next row of data. So we see that here. 33017 means we're looking at Stratford County. 080100 means we're looking at census tract 801. If we go over to column G, then the cancer risk is 22.1385, or just 22.1. So we can enter that information here, 22.1 per million. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to use the U.S. Census American Fact Finder website to find some basic socioeconomic information for our census tract and our county. We want to find the median income, we want to find some information about education, we want to find the rate of poverty, and we also want to know what percentage of the census tract and the county identifies as being a racial or ethnic minority. So we can do that by going to, again, the American Fact Finder website, and if you click on the link or copy and paste the URL, that will take you to this website. And once you're here, you want to do an advanced search. So you click here on advanced search, and that will bring you to this page. And here we're going to skip step 1 and go directly to step 2. We're going to select our geography. So you want to click on geographies. It's saying, what geographic type are you interested in? We're going to look first at the census tract. So highlight census tract. That will bring up this next page. And so it's saying, what state is the census tract in that you want to find information about? So we're looking in New Hampshire. And then it's going to say, what county in New Hampshire is that census tract located within? So we're looking for Stratford County, New Hampshire. So that will bring up all the census tract numbers for Stratford County, New Hampshire. And the one we're interested in is near the top, census tract 801. So we highlight that, we add that to our selections, and then you'll notice that up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, what we're doing now is we're searching using census tract 801, Stratford County, New Hampshire. So we're going to close our select geographies window, and that brings up all the tables that have information about census tract 801. Now, we want table S0601. That's the only table we're going to be using for this assignment. It has 2017 data. Now, you may notice here that there are multiple pages that have information about census tract 801. So if you're not finding table S0601 on the first page, you may need to scroll through some of these other pages to find table S0601. But once you have that, click on it and open it. And at the very top of the table, you can confirm that you're looking at data for census tract 801 in Stratford County, New Hampshire. So we see that right here, census tract 801, Stratford County, New Hampshire. And what we want is the total estimate in this column. So first we're going to be looking for the median income. So you can scroll down. Median income in dollars for census tract 801 is $51,671. So we'll enter that into our table. And as you probably know, the median is the number that divides a distribution exactly in half. So in other words, for census tract 801, half of the incomes are above $51,671 per year, and half the incomes are below that amount. The next thing we want is information about education. So we want to know what percentage of the population of Census Tract 801 has a bachelor's degree or more. So we go back to our table. There's information here on educational attainment for the population that's 25 years and over. So this is excluding anybody who's under 24. So this isn't counting babies or adolescents or teenagers. It's only for people age 25 and over. So what we want is the percentage that has of the percentage of the population 25 and older that has a bachelor's degree is 28.3%, and the percentage that has a graduate or professional degree is 45.9%. So adding those two numbers together will get us the percentage that has a bachelor's degree or more. So 28.3 plus 45.9 is 74.2%. So this is an extremely well-educated census tract, and it's not surprising because this is in Durham, New Hampshire. So it's a university community, so we shouldn't be surprised that of the population 25 and older, about 3/4 is going to have either a college degree or greater. You'll probably find when you look at other census tracts that the level of education is going to be significantly lower than it is for Durham. So next we're going to find the poverty rate, and here we go to poverty status. In the last 12 months, we want below 100% of the poverty level. And in Census Tract 801, again, not surprisingly, it's extremely low. It's lower than 1% at only 0.7% poverty rate. So again, because people living in this particular census tract are so well educated, we would expect that they're likely to be employed and paid well, so the poverty rate is going to be fairly low. And then finally, the last thing we want is the proportion of the population in the census tract that self-identifies as being either Hispanic or Latino or being non-white. And to get this information, we're going to kind of work backwards. So we're going to start with the percentage that identifies as being racially only white and not Hispanic or Latino. And in Census Tract 801, that's 93.8% of the population identifies as being only white and not Hispanic or Latino. So we're going to subtract this number from 100. So when we subtract 93.8 from 100, that leaves us with 6.2% of the population is either not white or Latino or Hispanic. So this is kind of a rough indicator of what percentage of the census tract is minority in one form or another, either racially minority or ethnically minority. So then the next step is to get the comparable information for all of Stratford County. And to do that, we go back to our website, we go back to the advanced search, and then we want to clear out the census tract information from the selection window. So we just click on the X, and now we go back to finding a different type of geography here. So we go back to step 2. We want to select geographies, but here, instead of census tract, we're going to select county, and it's going to say what state is the county in. We're going to say it's in New Hampshire again. And then here are all the counties for New Hampshire. New Hampshire only has 10 counties. The one we want is Stratford. Add that to our selections. That goes up to the window in the left. And then again, we want table S0601. So we close out our select geographies window and look for the table that we want. S0601. And again, if it's not on the first page, you may have to click through to some of these other pages to find this particular table. So we open that up, and the process is exactly the same. We find median income. Let's just do a quick comparison here. So Stratford County, New Hampshire, scrolling down to median income. Here it's much lower. The median income is $29,820. So again, because Census Tract 801 in Durham is for a university town, high level of education, we would expect the incomes to be significantly higher than for the county as a whole. And then you just go back and do the same steps for having the percentage having a bachelor's or more You find the poverty rate. Let's just take a quick look at that again so we can kind of do a comparison. So below 100% of the poverty level. So for Stratford County, the poverty rate is about 10 times higher than it is for Census Tract 801. It's 9.5%. So again, that's not surprising because the overall incomes are lower, the educational level is going to be lower as well. So this is the steps that you would follow to complete the data that you need for Table 1. You do the same thing for the census tract that's been assigned to you and then to the county that's been assigned to you. In step 2, you're going to create your graphs using either Excel, or if you're familiar with other software programs that allow you to create graphs, maybe something like Stata, you can use those as well. You're going to create 3 graphs. The first will compare cancer risks across your 4 locations. Figure 2 will compare the median incomes, and figure 3 will compare the percentages that are associated with the level of education, the poverty rate, and the proportion or the percentage in each place that is racially or ethnically a minority. So these are going to be 3 vertical bar graphs, and if you have questions about how to create graphs, if you don't know how to do that, don't hesitate to get in touch with the course TA. Once you have your 3 graphs, you want to copy and paste them onto page 2 of this document, and then save the document as a PDF. Once your table is complete, once the graphs look the way you want them, save the document as a PDF. Be sure that you've entered your name here, and then you want to upload the file, the PDF file, to Canvas no later than 5 p.m. on September the 26th. And I encourage you not to wait till the last minute to upload your completed assignment in case you encounter problems with internet connectivity or if you run into other technical issues. So be sure you get this uploaded by the deadline, no later than the deadline, so that you don't incur any lateness penalty. So that's it for the quick tutorial. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you still have questions about how to proceed, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or you can get in touch with the course TA and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. So good luck.